Selamat datang ke ASM Podcast yang dibawakan khas oleh Akademi Sains Malaysia. Siri podcast ini merupakan platform perkongsian topik-topik berkaitan sains, teknologi, inovasi dan ekonomi STIE secara santai dan mudah difahami. Setiap episod akan menampilkan jaringan pakar ASM yang akan berkongsi pengalaman dan pendapat mereka tentang STIE seiring dengan etos ASM. Budayakan sains, raikan teknologi, cetuskan inovasi.
Forum pada hari ini bertajuk Bioteknologi ke arah negara berteknologi tinggi. Apakah kita di landasan yang betul? Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, mari kita teruskan dengan sesi forum yang akan mengupas dengan lebih mendalam mengenai dasar bioteknologi negara 2.0 dan peranan yang dimainkan oleh semua pihak dalam mencapai aspirasi ini. Tambang membuang masa, kita teruskan dengan sesi forum dasar bioteknologi negara 2.0 dengan menjemput dan mempersilakan moderator kita yang berusaha Dr. Nagulendran Kangayatkarasu, Timbalan Ketua Setiausaha, Perancangan dan Pembudayaan MOSTI untuk mengambil tempat duduk di atas pentas. Di samping itu, turut bersama kita pada hari ini adalah panel-panel yang tidak asing lagi, iaitu yang berusaha Profesor Dr. Rofina Yasmin, Othman dari Universiti Malaya, yang berusaha Dr. Charlie Yau dari Sarawak Biodiversity Center, yang berusaha Encik Giva Kuppusamy dari GK Aqua Sendirian Berhad, dan yang berusaha Puan Azami Habib dari Akademi Sains Malaysia. Dipersilakan moderator.
Right, terima kasih saudara Lawrence, pengacara majlis pada pagi ini. Salam sejahtera yang berbahagia Datuk Othman, Presiden Akademi Sains dan juga Presiden kepada Perdana Menteri, penasihat kepada Perdana Menteri, yes. Dan rakan-rakan semua, terima kasih kerana sudi melapangkan masa bersama kita di satu acara yang sangat penting di mana pada petang ni kita akan melancarkan dasar Biotek 2.0. Dan sebentar tadi saja kita telah mendapat sedikit singkapan daripada yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Othman tentang apa yang mungkin terkandung dalam dasar yang dilancarkan oleh Perdana Menteri petang ini. Tapi sebelum itu pada pagi ini kita ada satu panel yang hebat belaka yang akan mengupas topik ini dengan lebih mendalam, iaitu adakah kita di landasan yang betul. Jadi ini sangat penting sebab dasar biotek yang pertama telah dilancarkan pada tahun 2005 dan ia telah berlangsung sehingga 2020 dan sekarang kita akan mengadakan satu dasar yang baru untuk meneruskan perceboran Malaysia dalam industri biotek ini dalam pertanian, healthcare dan juga industri. Jadi sebelum saya meneruskan, elok saya memperkenalkan panel yang ada bersama kita. Saya rasa semua kenal yang berusaha Profesor Dr. Rofina Yasmin. Profesor Rofina pernah berkhidmat di MOSTI sebagai SUB Biotek dan beliau juga daripada Universiti Malaya dan terlibat lama dalam bidang biotek dan panjang dia punya CV di sini, tapi saya rasa dia ada pengalaman membuat dasar dan sains. Jadi Prof Rofina akan membawa this whole interplay between science policy interface and I think Prof Rofina akan berkongsi pengalaman beliau dalam bidang tersebut. Dan kita juga ada Puan Hazami. Puan Hazami adalah CEO Academy of Sciences dan Academy of Sciences baru-baru ini Jemaah Menteri telah membuat keputusan di mana Presiden Academy of Science akan juga menjadi penasihat sains kepada Perdana Menteri dan juga negara. Jadi akan semakin penting peranan yang akan dimainkan oleh Academy of Sciences. Dan saya rasa Academy of Sciences ada di sini bersama kita sebab mereka adalah pihak yang penting yang telah membantu kementerian dalam menggubal dasar DBN 2.0. Jadi kita akan dengar daripada Puan Hazami sendiri tentang perkara ini. Dan kita juga ada Dr. Chalio yang juga merupakan CEO Sarawak Biodiversity Center. Sarawak Biodiversity Center ini telah lama wujud dan started off with your ordinance in 1997. Dan Sarawak Biodiversity Center telah cuba menggunakan sumber-sumber biologi secara mampan dengan input pengetahuan tradisi untuk menjana kekayaan baru dari peringkat akar umbi, dan mereka akan menceritakan melalui Dr. Charlie akan kejayaan mereka menggunakan ilmu tradisi dan disulami dengan biotech untuk menjana kekayaan baru dan how it has improved local livelihoods. Dan di hujung sekali kita ada, saya rasa mungkin orang yang paling muda dalam panel ini, tetapi age is a very biological thing. I always feel I'm biologically 24. So Dr. Giva Kuppusamy, seorang entrepreneur muda biousahawan yang telah berjaya menggunakan bioteknologi untuk menghasilkan satu produk aquaculture yang sekarang ini mendapat sambutan yang baik. Dan saya rasa Jiwa akan membawa kepada pentas ini tentang potensi biotek bagi golongan muda untuk mencuburi dalam bidang biotek dan menghasil kekayaan baru. Saya sebenarnya tidak membaca CV mereka. Terima kasih kepada Universiti yang menyediakan, sangat panjang. Tapi saya rasa kita akan kongsikan CV mereka secara lebih apa dalam kita punya forum. Dan juga saya difahamkan kami bersiaran secara langsung di media sosial. Jadi bagi mereka yang mengikuti siaran kami di Facebook Live, boleh juga like page kami dan juga bertanyakan soalan melalui saluran-saluran tersebut. Urus setia saya dimaklumkan bahawa kita juga ada Slido, tapi tidak ada maklumat tentang Slido ke? Ataupun kita ada slide tentang Slido, tidak ada ke? Ada? Yes. So, MOSTI selari dengan usaha kami menteknologikan segalanya yang boleh. Kita juga telah memudahkan bagi mereka yang mungkin tidak mahu atau tidak kesempatan bertanya soalan, boleh mengemukakan soalan melalui Slido dengan event code 1476629. Jadi apa yang kita akan lakukan pagi ini, setiap ahli panel akan memberi pandangan mereka selama 10 minit dan selepas tu saya akan buka kepada soalan sama ada dari penonton di sini ataupun penonton yang berada di atas talian, dan juga kami akan melihat soalan-soalan yang wujud di Slido ini. Dan we will see how time goes and maybe we can have another round of question. Jadi mungkin tanpa melengahkan masa, saya ingin menjemput Prof Yasmin untuk memulakan kupasan beliau tentang topik ini, adakah kami di landasan yang betul. Silakan Prof.
Terima kasih.
Right. You like to
stand up.
You like to use that?
Dia suruh pakai ni, so I have to like to stand.
Alright.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Terima kasih Dr. Nagulendran kerana telah memberi pembukaan yang amat terang. Saya amat teruja actually. I see so many old friends here and I also see young people. So I think ini adalah satu peluang bagi kita semua membangunkan semula, and I say that, membangunkan semula satu sektor yang sememangnya telah menjadi tunjak kepada perkembangan ekonomi negara kita. I mean, and that's, so I'm here as a cheerleader for biotech. After all these years, I still feel that biotech really has a lot to contribute to our nation. So I was asked to, saya diminta untuk memberi sedikit pandangan saya tentang sama ada selepas dasar biotech pertama kita sedang berada di ambang yang dikatakan boleh membawa kepada satu kelainan melalui DB 2.0. So adakah kita, so the yellow book, semua ingat lagi ya? Buku ni dulu kita memang semua orang pegang, baca dan membawa banyak harapan. And secara ringkas nak bawa imbas balik kepada apa yang telah dirancang dan apa yang telah dilaksanakan dalam 15 tahun semasa dasar bioteknologi pertama dilaksanakan pada tahun 2005 oleh masa itu Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri kita Datuk Tun Abdullah Badawi. So 3 fasa. Fasa pertama pembinaan keupayaan, fasa kedua makmal kepasaran, fasa 3 perniagaan global. Dan 9 trust, 3 fokus areas pertanian, perindustrian dan penjagaan kesihatan telah memberi kita satu platform secara teratur untuk membangunkan sektor bioteknologi di Malaysia. So adakah kami telah berjaya? Have we moved forward from 2005? Adakah kita bersedia sekarang untuk DBN 2.0? So untuk saya rasa kita sememangnya bersedia. Walaupun tadi Dr. Othman kata sumbangan sektor bioteknologi terhadap keluaran dan negeri kasar hanya 2.1. Tapi 2.1% ini tidak termasuk sektor-sektor sektor industri lain yang disokong biotek sebenarnya. Sama ada kita tak kira sebenarnya seperti industri makanan. Kita tak kira industri kimia yang asas teknologinya biotek. Kita tak kira misalnya industri dana, Zraya di sini, yang sememangnya membawa pulangan yang agak baik kepada negara, tapi tidak dimasuk dalam pengiraan KDNK biotek. So saya rasa kita kena lihat dengan lebih luas apa yang kita definisikan sebagai industri biotek yang dapat memajukan ekonomi. And we're at the right time. Kalau kita tengok strategi ekonomi di merata dunia, the US announced their strategic trust areas for the economy. Biotek is one of them. The European Union, biotek is one of them. So in Malaysia, we need to recognize that biotek is a driver of economy. So ada banyak yang telah berlaksana semasa 2015 yang membuat kita merasa yang sememangnya kita boleh berbangga dengan pelbagai kejayaan. And I cannot do this in 10 minutes. Jadi saya just pick one or two yang baru-baru ni pun saya telah sempat bersua semula dengan pemain-pemain biotek. Teras 1 dan 2 dan 3 adalah untuk pembangunan sektor, iaitu 3 sektor yang kita tengok. Dan this is some of the things yang telah saya rasa kita boleh bangga dengan sektor biotek. Misalnya semasa COVID, kita tahu kita lihat sendiri perkembangan pesat industri diagnostik di Malaysia. Dan it didn't come from nowhere. It came from a base of development of diagnostics from Prof. Asmah. 15 tahun dulu dia dah bersedia dengan landasan diagnostik. And until now, we have more than 20 companies, local companies, really capable of doing world-class diagnostics and are doing world-class diagnostics. Ada di belakang, banyak in exhibiting. Today, we can see them too. Kemasukan pelaburan industri antarabangsa. Did it work? Yes, we have a lot of companies now that are in Malaysia in this field. But again, we do not have a sectoral view the way E&E sector has. For instance, Biocon, biggest insulin facility is in Malaysia. Perkembangan syarikat berasaskan bioinformatics, MGRC, Intervent, Syngenics, many more memang bertapak di sini. And they have no problem in getting talent to work in their companies. And that I will speak very briefly. I have very few minutes left only. Teknologi biogesim merentas pelbagai industri. Sememangnya we know, for climate change, for green technology, what is the technology behind that's being used? It is biotechnology. And last of all here, I wanted to just highlight this very interesting fact that I got from the impact study yang Dr. Othman tunjuk tadi. 12 syarikat bioteknologi pertanian tempatan memulakan ujian klinikal untuk ubat botany, botanical drugs. Ini sepatutnya adalah satu daripada kita punya kekuatan di Malaysia because we have the biodiversity. Dr. Charlie akan kongsi sedikit tentang itu. But we also have the technologies, we have the skills to do this. And there are some companies here. Today we can see as well, Medica Natura is one of them. Here MDRC, Interven, all these companies that you've probably heard of. Okay, Trust 4 is something I want to highlight also lah. And I think ramai di antara kita di sini yang menceburi R&D di universiti atau di RI, dan banyak yang diperkatakan bahawa R&D biotech ni tak menyerlah, tak ada impact. I beg to differ lah. Sebenarnya kita dah sampai tahap yang pendidikan kita dikenali di merata dunia dari segi kualitinya. We can see by the papers, the citations, the patents we can get. Tapi kenapa dia tidak dikenali sebagai satu yang telah diterjemahkan oleh industri kepada impact atau kepada community? So I guess that's the job of 2.0. We need to convert now really all this incredible research kepada satu yang boleh dikatakan memberi impact kepada community dan industri. So it's just, so what is the problem? The problem is many things. Maybe the value of death, maybe funding. Kita tahu ini 2019 data about funding sememangnya memang tak cukup. Tak cukup dan tidak merentasi untuk membawa R&D daripada universiti atau RI kepada penggunaan consumer atau industri. That crossover funding is still something we need to address. Kerana pendanaan kebanyakan masih lagi daripada sumber kerajaan dan kita tengah nak cari sama ada dalam DBN 2.0 pelaburan dana akan lebih daripada industri. The pull factor from industry has to be what drives 2.0. At least that's my opinion. And we have the infrastructure. Kita ada the National Institute, not only just our more than 30 universities which do research in biotechnology, kita juga ada the National Institute of Biotechnology yang telah dilaksanakan semasa 1.0. So almost to the end of my brief what do you call it, sharing session. Talent adalah satu lagi. Pembangunan modal insan adalah satu lagi sektor yang banyak ditanya-tanyakan. Mismatch. I keep hearing this all the time. Is there really a mismatch? Okay. Number one, kita lihat daripada berbagai sudut. Kalau kita tengok pada sudut sasaran DBN 1.0, memang tercapai. Because we were at a soaring upwards trajectory in terms of the number of courses, number of programs, number of graduates. So just in the last 10 years, lebih daripada 12,000 graduan pengkhususan biotech tidak termasuk bidang-bidang yang berkaitan. So again kita nak ingat bahawa biotech bukannya degree biotech saja. Degree chemical engineering, degree microbiology, degree biokimia dan semuanya adalah berkaitan dengan bidang biotech. So dan kalau kita lihat pada bilangan kerjaya pula, bilangan kerjaya biotech dan bilangan sebenar graduan biotech dan bidang berkaitan yang memenuhi jawatan ini, kita tak ada really good tracking system lah, data to really show that this is success. We have a TKSU, we have industry players, we have people in finance, we have our graduates are everywhere actually. Of course, we don't expect 100% of our graduates to be in the field, but they are in fields of influence that can help the biotech industry. And kita kena lihat juga dalam di manakah graduan kita pergi. Kita harus lihat pada diaspora kita juga. Diaspora to me is a success story. It's not a failure necessarily. We think, oh, brain drain. No, it is we are sending our brains to build the world. And we will have them back. Not physically maybe, but certainly diaspora memainkan peranan penting di negara-negara yang telah membangunkan industri bioteknologi. Bila diaspora mereka yang memberikan akses kepada teknologi, akses kepada market, dan akses kepada talent daripada luar negara. Jadi saya rasa kita kena frame semula rethink how we talk about our talent. Kalau kita sentiasa cakap mismatch, no jobs, kenapa no jobs? I really challenge the industry to 2.0. We have more graduates than industry can handle. So the industry has got to grow and grow quickly. Yeah, and to be honest, semua industri yang saya, I may be wrong, but the ones that I've been interactive with, they have no problem to find talent within this country. So talent is not the problem. It's just, you know. And the other thing is, I think Dr. Azman pun sebut dalam, kita juga tahu, yang keperluannya adalah pada talent yang khusus. So biotech programs yang paling popular dalam kajian yang telah dilaksanakan adalah program biotech yang mengkhusus, like biotech industry, biotech marine ke, biotech penjagaan kesihatan, itu yang lebih popular dan juga yang disukai oleh industry. Actually, I have, just before I go to the last slide, ada gambar ke tepi tu, GK Aqua. So GK Aqua adalah graduan Universiti Malaya dalam biotech. I'm very proud of that. And ni dia dengan Dr. Nagu, the picture. Yeah, and he's it's something that also we need to have conversation about. Syarikat biotech yang diterajui dalam biotech di mana entrepreneurship, keusahawanan adalah satu laluan kerjaya yang kita kena tekankan, number one. And number two, did you know that entrepreneur graduan biotech ni tidak terkira dalam the counting of the number of jobs that biotech students go, because it's not considered, maybe now, but before this it was not considered like a job. So you don't really have a job, Mr. Giva, even though you own a company. Finally, adakah kita bersedia to the next phase? And to me, the government has done so much to get things ready. The industry has done so much to get things ready. Membina landasan yang saya rasa cukup mantap. We have akta-akta yang sesuai, kita ada piawai yang sesuai, kita ada laluan-laluan regulatory seperti untuk ujian klinikal. Kita telah tubuhkan majlis bioetika masa 2012. Kita ada baru-baru ni garis panduan ubatan botanicals yang membolehkan kita sekarang mengakreditasi ubatan botanicals di Malaysia. Kita dulu ada Biotech Corp, sekarang ada Bioteknologi. What's the name? It's just a name. And Bioteknologi Corp pun mungkin ada di MOSTI sekarang. Ya, jadi kita ada penerajunya untuk Biotech 2.0. So I am optimistic and I hope all of you all are too. And I hope that kita boleh laksanakan 2.0 bersama-sama. InsyaAllah.
Thanks. Terima kasih Prof. Rofina. Saya rasa Prof. Rofina telah memberi kupasan dari segi very broad tentang, dan beliau juga sangat optimistik bergerak ke depan tentang biotech dan telah menimbulkan beberapa persoalan yang mungkin tuan-tuan secara online ataupun yang berada di sini mungkin boleh bertanya lepas ini. Misalnya Prof mengatakan sumbangan dana. Jika dilihat semasa rancangan Malaysia ke-9, kalau tidak silap saya, dana untuk biotech hampir 0.5 bilion. Itu saya selalu ungkitkan sebagai zaman kegemalangan MOSTI. Tapi angka itu telah merosot. Semasa rancangan Malaysia ke-11, kalau tidak silap saya, hanya 20 juta diperuntukkan. Jadi ini persoalan yang ditimbulkan oleh Prof. Pendanaan, adakah ia seharusnya datang daripada kerajaan saja? Apakah peranan industri? So mungkin ini boleh kita fikirkan bersama. Dan persoalan kedua yang saya rasa sangat relevan ialah bakat. Sering kali bila kita turun padang, industri mengatakan kita tidak mendapat bakat yang sewajarnya daripada universiti. Manakala jika kita berbicara dengan pihak IPTA ataupun IPTS, mereka mengatakan mereka menjana banyak graduan biotech. Jadi ada graduan yang mengambil the traditional pathway, pergi dan bekerja di luar sana. Ada juga yang berani dalam bio-usahawan seperti rakan kita, Mr. Jiwa. Jadi ini antara beberapa soalan yang kita perlu jawab. ataupun kita boleh bincang kemudian. Dan satu perkara yang saya rasa Prof. Rofina mengatakan, kita ada kerangka undang-undang yang agak mencukupi, seperti kerangka undang-undang biokeselamatan, akses kepada sumber biologi dan perkongsian faedah Akta ini 2017. Dan what's lacking to make us make the move? Saya rasa DBN 2.0 juga akan mensasarkan 5% KDNK keluaran dalam negeri kasar. How do we get there by 2030? So untuk itu mungkin elok sekarang saya mempersilakan Dr. Charlie Yeo yang mana telah bekerja dengan masyarakat tempatan, komuniti tempatan dan menggunakan khazanah biologi Sarawak untuk menjana kekayaan baru dan improving life. So maybe Dr. Charlie will share some of your experiences. Dipersilakan Dr. Charlie Yeo daripada Sarawak Biodiversity Center.
I'll just do it from here.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
All right. Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera. First of all, I want to say terima kasih kepada pihak MOSTI yang menyebut Sarawak Biodiversity Center kat panel perkongsian sini. What I wanted to do was, this morning when I got up, I feel very excited, and I feel excited not because of the coffee I've been drinking, but I feel very excited because MOSTI now is having a new prime mover that they have to sort of manage over time till the year 2030. So this is something very, very important for the whole nation, and it's also very important for Sarawak. Now, what I intend to do here was to talk a little bit about what the Sarawak Biodiversity does, and let's go back in time. Let's go back in time to look at how it was set up 25 years ago. 25 years ago, Sarawak knew that the rainforest is very important. The rainforests have a lot of values, and it's important to conserve it. But what do we do as far as like the kind of science we should put in? So we started off with something very simple, that is document the traditional knowledge. Why, right? The reason is because in Sarawak there are 28 ethnic communities that have different languages, different types of food, and they use different types of plants for their day-to-day activity, including medicinal use. So we thought that is a very important information to capture. We started that 25 years ago. So over time, we developed a database for it, and also linking to it with the knowledge is the species of the plant that they use. So we begin to collect those plants also. And by having that list and inventory of plants, what else do you do with it as far as from a science perspective? We begin to introduce chemistry in there, biology, and of course, biotechnology. So we made extracts of those plants, and we kept it in the library. Now, in terms of how it all turns out in the year, a few years ago, we began to think about how traditional knowledge, what is the outcome of it when it meets science? How does science add value to the traditional knowledge? And how do we conserve and how do we protect these species that are in the biodiversity? We have documented about 21 out of the 28 indigenous communities in terms of their plants. Some of the plants are overlapping and some of the plants have similar uses, but you'd be surprised that some of the uses are quite interesting. And how does science is able to unravel all this? And Prof. Yasmin said that you need botanists, you need people who are, pakar dalam botany, taxonomy. And here we do not have scientists who are specifically involved in it, but we train them and we bring in expertise. Now, very simple wise, Sarawak Biodiversity Center set up 25 years ago. We are primarily funded by the state government and industry. We serve the state government in terms of how we manage the utilization of the biodiversity. And very simply, once we have set up the libraries of these plants extracts, we expanded further. If you look at biodiversity, it's not about plants only. It's about animals, it's about fungi, it's about bacteria, so on and so forth. So we expanded this library from the last 25 years. We expanded it to have a collection of microalgae for biofuel production. We expanded to microbes, which we intend to do bioprospecting on in terms of pharmaceuticals, so on and so forth. So here, Sarawak biodiversity translated to an assets, the chemical library, and we have the R&D in which we collaborate internally. We have in-house screening as well as collaboration with outside institutions and also companies. And then we intend to build products and commercialize thereof. Therefore, not only serving to look at how we can return income to the indigenous community, but also income to the state government itself. And therefore, here, the economic opportunity is huge. And we are very happy that MOSTI now has moved on to DBN2, and we hope to be aligned to that. Yeah. Now, that's the process of the product discovery. And I just want to mention one little project, or one project that we've been working on for several years. And this entails work with the indigenous community. And it's on an essential oil called Litsara. The essential oil of Litsara comes from a species of plant called Litsea cubeba. It is quite a common species. You can find it in China. Dia ada apa itu saudara dekat, a similar species in China, which they call meichang. And the oil smells fantastic. Yeah. Now there is a difference between the Litsea cubeba from Sarawak compared to the oil in China or in Vietnam. And because of this difference, we are able to establish the intellectual property around it. We did a geographical indication as well as the trade market. And furthermore, we have found something unique about these plants, that it is non-allergen. We therefore went forward and make some healthcare products with it, in the interest that you stimulate some social enterprise. So this has been going on for a while, and we would not be able to do it without what we call as an instrument under Convention of Biological Diversity, under the Nagoya Protocol, which is called Access and Benefit Sharing. Access and benefit sharing is a process whereby you recognize the indigenous knowledge, as well as you promise that whatever you develop from there, you would share the benefit back with the community. It has prior informed consent in there, in which you have to get the consent of the community. Here, this project has taken off, and we were able to derive monetary as well as non-monetary benefit with the community. And the first 5 communities that we are able to get on board was quite significant in the sense that Sarawak have achieved a first in Malaysia in the signing of the first benefit sharing agreement in Malaysia. So that has started in 2019. It's stretched over 3 years. Recently, we re-signed the agreement again. It's stretched over for the next 5 years. We buy the essential oil from the community who extracted the oil using the equipment that is supplied by SBC under the sponsorship of UNDP. We take the oil, we QC the oil, and we make sure that the oil has the certification that companies can use in the products. And the products that are sold would have part of the royalty channel back to the community. So far, so on and so forth, it has been quite interesting. And what I like to do is I like to end here by saying that if you're looking at this project itself, which is a social innovation project, the question that we are discussing here today is whether we are at the Landasan yang Tinggi, yeah? And because of this project, I think we can ask ourselves whether this is biotechnology at its highest level, or whether it is a very socially directed project directed at improving the livelihood of the community. And I think with that, Dr. Nagu, I'll just end there. All right? Thank you very much for your attention.
Terima kasih, Dr. Charlie. I mean, it's projected that the value of biotech by 2030 will be about $3 million. And this is just a snippet about how biotech, together with ethno-knowledge systems, can actually empower communities. And I really like this story because it's not as straightforward as we see. One is you have to deal with the communities, but communities are also getting smarter. So they also want clear contracts so that they don't lose out. Because ada banyak pengalaman di negara-negara lain. Sebab masyarakat peribumi, they do not understand, or not that they do not understand, they understand a lot. They do not recognize our governing boundaries, you see. So there was this very interesting story about a tribe in Africa who was using hudia, which is an energy giver. Yeah? But these tribes, they have been sharing traditional knowledge for ages, but now unfortunately due to colonization, they have been drawn into a certain country, Zambia, South Africa. So when there was a bioprospecting activity in that particular country, and benefit sharing was given to a particular tribe, then suddenly a tribe in a cross land said, hey, look here, I too know this knowledge, you see. So these things are interesting, but they involve a lot of legal work at social level, and I'm very excited that Sarawak Biodiversity Center has got a lot of experience for doing prior informed consent, having protocols at community level. So perkara ini sangat penting. Saya juga teruja bila community boleh mendapat RM15,000 serumah sebulan. So this is social innovation in action, and it looks at the potential of our biodiversity. Pada ketika yang sama juga, saya rasa ia menimbulkan banyak persoalan kerana berlaku ketirisan sumber biologi kita dan juga pengetahuan tradisi kita. Sebab bila seorang bioprospector memasuk hutan hujan khatulistiwa kita, amat sukar ya untuk mengetahui pokok mana yang berguna ataupun microbe mana. Of course can't see microbes, but they usually take soil samples back. The first point of contact is our orang asli that share with them knowledge that when I have a flu, I take this bark of the tree, and then a modern scientist will say flu is virus. They will prospect for antiviral properties and all that. But most of the time, local communities do not get any benefit for the knowledge they have. And there's a lot of misappropriation that happens, and it's happening till today. In fact, pernah berlaku tidak berapa lama dulu di mana seorang saintis terkenal datang ke satu IPTA kita membawa balik pohon, I won't mention the name of the pohon, that will be too obvious. Suatu pohon, dia mengambil pohon itu tanpa kebenaran IPTA itu, tapi di pohon itu, di akarnya mempunyai fungi yang boleh mengubat penyakit Ganoderma kepada pokok kelapa sawit. Ya. Jadi, he bioprospected it without permission, so it's called biopiracy. And that's a loss of our khazanah because Malaysia is a signatory to the Convention on Biological Diversity, which recognizes your sovereign rights over your bioresources. So it's a very important treaty yang mana left ni, I think, a few countries yang belum rectify, which is Amerika Syarikat and one or two others. So ini ialah perkara-perkara yang kita harus ambil perhatian, dan saya rasa usaha yang dibuat di Sarawak Biodiversity Center is very exciting, and I think you may have questions to ask Dr. Charlie later on. Then moving on, I think kita akan melihat bagaimana pula industri biotek boleh diusahahasilkan dalam perniagaan yang saya rasa saudara Giva akan berkongsi dengan kita, dan saya rasa I'll pass on to Mr. Giva to share his experience. Silakan.
Terima kasih, salam sejahtera semua. Terima kasih Tuan Pengerusi. So terima kasih daripada pandangan kita tengok tadi Malaysia adalah satu negara yang banyak dengan khazanah semula jadi, Biodiversity. So dengan itu saya bermula di mana persoalan kita untuk forum hari ini, sama ada kita di landasan yang betul atau tidak, kan? So bagi sebagai seorang yang entrepreneur, bagi saya kita memang ada di landasan yang betul, di negara yang paling nenek saya biasa kata negara ni yang bukan suana bumi, it's a blessed land. Buang apa saja tak payah jaga pun, dia akan tumbuh secara semula jadi. And dengan itu bagi saya landasan untuk entrepreneur memang di landasan yang betul, di mana kita memang ditaja dari funding ekosistem, di mana kita start dulu platform ventures, cradle, bioekonomi dengan tax incentive dia. So kita bagi ramai orang muda, kita suka complain. We take it to the netizen, we call ourselves netizen, hari-hari complain. Kita tak dapat ini, tak dapat itu. Saya rasa kalau kita berusaha, things are possible. So dari segi biodiversity, kita secara global, the dependency lebih kepada satu atau dua crop. Contohnya kalau dalam agriculture, kita bergantung kepada wheat, soy, rice and so forth. Kalau kita ambil agriculture, macam negara kita memang banyak sistem agriculture kita lebih kepada monoculture. Dan sama juga dengan aquaculture. Kalau kita tengok dalam gambar ni, saya memang tak muat nak masuk, kita ada lebih kurang 24 spesies aquaculture dari fresh water sahaja yang mempunyai potensi ekonomi yang tinggi. Tapi namun demikian, kita hanya komersialkan 3 jenis ikan, di mana ikan tilapia, ikan patin dan ikan keli. Tapi harga atau industri 3 spesies ni pun sudah hampir 800 juta ringgit. Ya. So itulah persoalan saya masa saya mula-mula dulu bermula dengan udang galah. Memang itu spesies kegemaran saya, di mana memang masalah kita dekat Malaysia, kita memang bertumpu kepada induk-induk dari liar. So domestication in terms of technology memang tak wujud. So kita ambil udang galah ni sebagai satu contoh dan kita disrupt the value chain dari segi aplikasi teknologi. Dia bukan saja start dengan genetics and breeding, kita ada juga kajian dari segi animal nutrition untuk gantikan bahan makanan dia. Kita selalu komplain, kita kata dedak mahal, kita kena bagi ayam kita makan dengan nutrition dari yang imported. Persoalan atau common sense dia, udang atau ikan kita di sungai bukan makan dengan soy atau wheat. So it goes back to the nature, right? So that's where disruptive innovation comes in. Of course, kalau kita jaga genetik dan animal nutrition, health is self-evidentary. Dia boleh take care itself. And then on the last platform is technology. Acquisition technology. Sebab kita dalam satu konteks global dengan 10 bilion orang dalam masa 20 tahun, we have to do more with less. And that's the truth. And we cannot run away from that, right? And overarching semua ni, kita lagi kena lestari kepada alam sekitar. Kita Sustainable Development Goals. Kita hari-hari cakap pasal SDG, tapi sama ada kita aplikasi atau lebih cenderung kepada kelestarian dalam bidang kita, itu adalah satu soalan yang kita kena jawab kepada diri sendirilah. So dari segi genetics, saya nak kupaskan di sini, kita selalu komplain. Dekat Surau Khabar kita boleh tengok banyak talent yang keluar negara. Kita selalu ada brain drain. Tapi ada juga, macam saya punya rakan seperjuangan dekat sini, Dr. Gan, dia ke Australia, di Kin Genomic Institute, 3 tahun lepas dia balik. Dia join kita, kita buat perkara macam ni, orang spend berjuta-juta ringgit nak sequence genom. Genom udang galah ni hanya saiz dalam 4 GB, kita spend dalam RM100,000 sahaja. So, persoalan dia sama ada teknologi itu mahal, tak mahal, itu bukan persoalan sekarang. Technology gets cheaper as economy of scale increases. So, apa yang kita buat dengan udang galah ni memanglah kita memang menghasilkan baka yang lebih bagus dengan genome sequencing dan boleh mempercepatkan pertumbuhan dan membesarkan udang. Contohnya penternak kita memang boleh dapat 500 kali ganda peratus yield dia dalam masa yang amat singkat. So itu satu contoh. Dan kita juga lestarikan makanan dia dari segi green scale ekonomi. Banyak barang biodiversity, banyak macam saya katakan tadi, banyak treasure atau khazanah negara biodiversity. Dan kita fokuskan kepada ni, contohnya kita gunakan pokok turi dalam rumusan makanan kita, di mana kita bagi sejenis lalat, black soldier fly, dan kita beri kepada udang kita. Dan kita found out juga dalam usaha ni, kita pun jumpa ada kandungan omega 6 pula dalam kandungan ni. Kan? So perkara-perkara begini kalau kita tak research atau kita tak continue, that's why as a small startup, our DNA is always about research. Because research and development or bioinnovation is a continuous process. Kalau kita buat satu perkara, kita dah cakap, kita dah angkuh dengan kejayaan kita, kata we are done, we are very successful. I think that's not the right attitude in the industry. So kita tengah berusaha untuk penternak kita untuk mendapatkan rumusan makanan on-site, and then udang ni boleh lebih sihat, and then perkara ni kita boleh jual udang galah di Malaysia dalam RM40, udang yang sama kita boleh jual $40. Kenapa? People pay for carbonization. This whole context here is about carbon credit. About how we can manipulate the environment to be favorable in our daily life, so that it benefits us largely in terms of economic return. Itu contoh video udang galah diberi makan dengan black soldier fly. Dia suka. So itu contoh lah. Nanti boleh lawat booth kita. Paling saya gembira pasal kerja saya atau what we do in end of the day has to translate to economic growth. Contohnya semalam rakan saya dengan Steven ke Rompin, kita jumpa dengan orang muda, kita kata kita nak start satu projek di sana, memang ada farm yang abandoned lah dalam 1,000 ekar. Orang sana, orang muda dah ke tabiat penagihan dadah. Simply because nelayan di situ pergi tangkap ikan, tak ada ikan, so dia kena ada replacement of economic activity. So kita lebih tumpukan kepada, because apa yang kita buat di lab tu, saya selalu bagi tahu kolik saya, kena ada peranan atau return on investment or equity to the farmers. So we are talking about social equity. So kita di mana kita merangka satu program dengan institutional financial institution, mana penternak udang galah 0.3 hektar boleh mendapat untung sehingga RM6,000 sebulan. Orang ramai kata, you ambil pekerja asing, you kasih dia 20 kolam, bayar RM2,000, dia sudah boleh, you sudah lagi untung. I think that's the mentality shift we as young entrepreneur try to bring, so that we can diversify and also empower people. I think empowerment of economic or bioeconomic development is a going forward, and that can achieve a tremendous achievement in terms of food security and sustainability, and be self-reliant, because we have an import bill of RM60 billion. So udang galah ni adalah satu contoh di mana kita boleh aplikasi apa yang kita belajar di universiti. So irony, 2015 dasar 1.0 saya baru undergrad tahun pertama. So dengan itu saya habiskan sharing session saya dan serahkan kepada Dr. Nagu.
Right, terima kasih Cik Giva. Saya rasa kalau kita rungkaikan apa yang dikongsikan oleh Giva, ada 3 perkara lah. Satu ialah selari dengan distin, iaitu Dasar Sains Teknologi Inovasi Negara. Kita melihat bahawa Malaysia perlu beranjak pada negara pencipta teknologi. Dan apa yang saudara Giva telah buat, dia telah menghasilkan udang yang semuanya jantan, tanpa menggunakan kaedah genetic engineering, tapi kaedah dia tersendiri. Dan untuk menghasilkan udang jantan, bukan dia tak suka betina, tapi jantan ni besar. Jadi lebih cepat dia boleh dapat RM40 ataupun USD 40 depending where you are selling it. So this shows innovation is very important. Tetapi untuk membawa Cik Giva ke mana dia berada hari ini kena angkat bakul sedikit jugalah. MOSTI juga ada peranan. Melalui suntikan dana MOSTI yang sedikit, tapi it was enough to nudge Mr. Giva to get to where he is today. So that's why sokongan kerajaan, MOSTI adalah agensi yang memberi dana, Dan kita juga ada agensi-agensi seperti Cradle dan sebagainya yang memberi dana-dana startup untuk membantu usahawan muda seperti Mr. Giva. And the third thing is, I think what is really nice is, when I went to visit Mr. Giva, he's continuously looking at solutions. Dia bagi udang dia makan black soldier fly, dia bagi makanan turi, right? It's a very famous plant with the Indian community sebab dia ada pelbagai khasiat kesihatan. And bila udang dia makan fermented daun turi ni, nampak sihat-sihat belaka. So he's continuously innovating, and the final point is he's not stopping there. He's sharing with the community. Jadi it's memperkasakan community. So I think that's why we wanted him to be the panel, because it's a very interesting story to share with everybody, you see. And itu ialah daripada saudara Jiwa. You can ask him a lot of questions, and I think you have your live prawns here, right? Okay. Dan kita akan beralih kepada Puan Hazami. We keep ini macam 4x4 lah, the last runner. So dia akan berkongsikan beberapa perkara tentang ekosistem biotech, and in the bigger context of the 10-10 STI framework. And I think she'll be doing a sharing about anjakan paradigma of return of investment to return of value, and a bit on social innovation and how we can tie this all up together. So I'll pass on to Puan Hazami. Silakan.
Thank you, Dr. Nagu.
Sorry.
Assalamualaikum. Salam sejahtera. And thank you to MOSTI for inviting me and Akademi Sains Malaysia to share what we can share today at this historic day to launch the Bioteknologi Policy 2.0. Okay, can I have my slides? Okay. First of all, this policy, the policy statement adalah memacu negara ke arah bioinovasi bagi menjana kekayaan, kesejahteraan sosial dan pembangunan mampan. That is the policy statement that we want to achieve under this Dasar Bioteknologi 2.0. The vision is pada tahun 2030, kita nak bioteknologi akan mentransformasi Malaysia kepada sebuah negara berteknologi tinggi, berasaskan bioinovasi yang progresif, makmur, inklusif dan mampan. So that is the vision of this new policy that we want to launch this afternoon. And what is our mission? The mission is untuk mengharmonikan, menyatukan dan memfokus kepada semua sumber, aktiviti dan program berasaskan bio di Malaysia ke arah peningkatan kemakmuran ekonomi, kesejahteraan sosial dan kemampanan. So that is the mission of this policy. So Akademi, when we do this policy together with MOSTI, with all our stakeholder engagement, and not just biotechnology policy, all other policies that is formed by Akademi for the government, like nanotechnology policy, nuclear policy, so on and so forth, and all the roadmaps, we always be asked to say how to do the how to unlock this policy. So one of the things that when we launched RMK12, we come up with this 10-10 my STIE. What is this 10-10 my STIE? So this policy this year, DBN 2.0, is focusing on bio-innovation, talking about bio-revolutions, whereby it integrates and develops in computing, data analytics, machine learning, AI, biological engineering, that give rise to all research now is multidisciplinary solutions. It is converging platform and system and multiple spillover impact across sector. That is now the DNA of R&D. And the 4 arenas of bio-innovation in this policy address biomolecules, biosystem, bio-machine interface, and biocomputing. So when we form 10-10 my STIE, all this technology is already developed and designed through this 10-10. But people always think 10-10 is about this matrix alone. This matrix is just an introduction. After 283 emerging technology in the world, we shortlist to 95 and now we cluster it into 10. And we need all experts in this 10 to bring biotechnology. There are 5 emerging technology: biotechnology, nanotechnology, digital technology, green technology, and neurotechnology. To bring it to the next level. And which area that we want to develop? We want to develop all these 10 socio-economic areas that we have identified. And this 10-10 MySTI is already accepted under RMK 12. This is not exclusive untuk dasar sains teknologi dan inovasi negara. This is a tool for us, be it industry, be it researchers, government officers, policy makers, think tank like Akademi, to plan what kind of programs, initiative, research that really give impact to the 10 socio-economic areas that we want to develop under RMK 12. So that is the thing that is 10-10. So people always see 10-10 this metric, but the real 10-10 is this. This is the mechanism under 10-10 that we should work now. Unlock the policy of Dasar Bioteknologi Negara 2.0 towards this mechanism. What is this mechanism? This mechanism teaches us how to be more focused, to build an understanding of the emerging global technologies that we have clustered is already, the 10 emerging technologies, and how they impact your core operation and influence key socio-economic sectors. After focus, now we have to prioritize. Under this 10-10, we have identified the niche area. I will share with you the niche area that we have the government yang guna public money ni or industry to prioritize your investment to build position for global leaders. Under DBM 2.0, we want 30% of bio-nexus to go global. That is our target. How to do that if we don't know how to prioritize? Next is, we have to systemize our innovation ecosystem through the 8I innovation helix. The infrastructure, incentive, intellectual capital, so on and so forth. That is 10-10. Number 4, the mechanism of 10-10 is collaborative platform. We see just now, Dr. Othman shows, the whole Malaysia, each state have biotechnology center. How do we work together? How do we collaborate among federal and state? How do we collaborate among all research organizations and universities? We need to perform this collaborative platform. Then, it should be inclusive. We need to initiate locality specific, just like what we learned from Sarawak Biodiversity. We have to understand the strength of each state, the strength of each locality. Then only we can deploy very impactful programs, initiative, research that we want to deploy under biotechnology sector. And last, we have to make sure it is future-proof. To conduct regular foresighting to ensure the STIE ecosystem is adapting to the change and is able to mitigate risks associated with uncertainties and volatilities. So these are the 6 mechanisms of 10-10. So please go beyond this to this in order for us to repeat whatever success that we heard, pocket of success. Now we have to design it so we can move our country by design and no longer by chance. These are the 30 niche areas that we have identified and it's already accepted by the government. Each industry, research organization, government, public incentive, public research fund should focus on this. The one in the red box is all directly related to biotechnology. So how do we focus? Just like premium tropical fruits, local superfood, premium halal food, high value seafood, just like what GK did in his industry just now that's presented by Dr. Ragu. So these are all the focus area or niche area that we should focus on for the next 5 to 10 years. So we will do, Academy will continuously review this and to make sure it is on track. These are the collaborative platform that we need to bring all the players in order for us to unlock DBM 2.0 to achieve all the targets. We need to have this collaborative platform. We need to bring the connectors, the producers, manufacturers, most of them are from industry, technology providers, financing providers, standard setters and regulators, supply chain and logistic providers, market access providers, and capacity builders to work together. If Prof. Rofina said supply and change, there is a mismatch. How do we enhance it under capacity building? We have to talk to each other with all these clusters and work together in many, many clusters in biotechnology that we want to develop, be it in vaccine, be it in food, be it in seafood, so on and so forth. So we need to create this platform, collaborative platform at federal, state and district level and also at regional level. Another problem that Akademi see cross-cutting when we do all our policy studies is how do we bridge this innovation chasm? How to bring all four quadruple helix to work together and have some sort like an open innovation platform that we can give solutions to issues based on demand-driven or market-driven system of what industry need, or giving solutions to the society or nation what we are facing today. So what we need is to have the solvers and the seekers to have that intermediaries that connect this both and play more roles in creating experimental development through applied research and also technology transfers. What we need here is most of government agencies, government-linked research organizations that play a role as intermediaries to become the connector. You see, under the platform of collaboratives now, we have to play the role as the connector to bring both parties and for us to translate. If you read 2 days ago, MOF asked us to translate more of our R&D into product and services. So we need to translate this. And how to do that? So we need to put back on track the role of research organization, be it government-linked research organization or all intermediaries and research institute were established before to do public good and return on value. However, today, if you see the conditions of most of our research organizations, they are being evaluated based on return on investment. We are changing their nature to become a business entity rather than a research organization that give public good and return on value. We have to measure their impact through the creative talent that they have spilled over through all the activities, new knowledge that they have discovered, knowledge network and value chain, wealth creation, societal development, branding and positioning for us to attract the foreign direct investment. So these are things that we have to put in place to ensure that we can unlock whatever policy that government has deployed, especially related to science, technology, innovation and economy. Because why? Because we have to change the way we do our research today. We should have focus on solutions for future societies, solutions to problems that we are facing. That's why slowly the Malaysian Grand Challenges Fund under MOSTI, the SRF, is to answer the Malaysian Grand Challenges based on the 30 niche area. That is a very mission-oriented research that give impact and focus to people-centric, nature-based and values-driven. Only then we can create a systemic change of what we want to have in our ecosystem of R&D. Another new initiative activities that just been approved by Parliament is Malaysian Science Endowment. This is an alternative funding that we need to form starting now in order to ensure we have sustainable funding, not just looking into government funding. If you see in UK, they have ARIA, they are using all SES fund that is not being seeked by others in banks. 20% of them, they put under their endowment fund and go towards research. These are things that we need to create in Malaysia in our ecosystem to have a sustainable funding, alternative funding for R&D. So these are some of the sources that we have identified. Now we are talking to MOF, talking to MOSTI, talking to industry, and let us come up with a good program that we can raise fund for endowment. We can do through dormant funds, crowdfunding, industry fund, SES fund, angels, international fund, philanthropy or Islamic sustainable financing wakaf. So these are some sources that we see, and Akademi has been entrusted by the government to work together with MOSTI in order for us to come up with a good base, a good platform for us to come up with a alternative funding for R&D. So we hope with this, it can mitigate some of the gaps, just like what Dr. Nagu said, RM9, RM8, we got half a billion for R&D for biotech, come to RM10, 12, 20 million. is not sustained. We cannot have that kind of ecosystem anymore. So let's us work together, come up with a good program that we can raise fund internationally, locally, working with LLC and MNCs in the country. So with that, I hope through 1010 MySTIE, through all the latest initiative, we can unlock this good policy and creating a systemic change to deliver value, and let us work together using this mechanism and make impact towards. We know Malaysia research fraternity is very small. Our SME is 98.2%. How are we going to make an impact if we don't work together? So this is a mechanism that I hope all of us can take back and work together, network, avoid working in silo and collaborate. With that, I think we are in the right track to unlock the policy of TBN 2.0. Thank you.
Terima kasih Puan Hazami telah mengupas topik ini, dan saya rasa beliau telah berjaya menunjukkan bahawa you need many parameters untuk kami berada di landasan yang betul. Ada beberapa parameter sudah lengkap. Mungkin dari segi keperluan dana, sebab itu kerajaan telah mewujudkan Malaysian Science Endowment. Untuk makluman rakan-rakan, setakat ini ada seorang saja filantropis yang memberi sumbangan kepada dana. That's mendiang Ranjit Bhagwan Singh, seorang penyelidik yang tersohor di IMR, di mana dia telah mendonate, he donated his whole wealth towards this fund. Dan walaupun dana yang diberikan melalui dana this fund, this memorial fund Ranjit Bhagwan Singh tidaklah besar, tapi from my little experience, these small funds are the one that create a lot of impact, rippling effects. And I think because of keikhlasan dia memberi dana itu, that whole dana has got a feel good factor. Jadi hari itu bila kita memberi dana itu kepada pemenang daripada USM, saya telah merayu kepada media masa supaya menulis sebegitu rupa supaya pada hari keesokannya MOSTI akan mendapat panggilan telefon. Mungkin ada yang tercuit hati untuk memberi dana untuk sains. Tapi setakat ni kami menunggu telefon berbunyi. Alright. So jika anda yang ingin berbuat demikian, Malaysian Science Endowment adalah satu platform yang baru dipersetujui di peringkat parlimen. And you will get more information about that. Bolehlah, kita bersama-sama memperkasakan pendanaan sains. Dan satu lagi perkara yang menarik perhatian kita ialah, I think agak jelas in many countries, government is not in the business of doing business. Tetapi di sini saya rasa kadang-kadang ada mismatch. Seringkali kita melahirkan satu agensi, GLC, CLBG, dan setelah memberi suntikan dana untuk 1-2 tahun, lepas tu kita biarkan agensi tersebut untuk hidup. Dan saya rasa Puan Hazami dalam masa yang diberikan kepada beliau telah melihat kita perlu ada this anjakan paradigma, iaitu daripada return on investment to return on values. Because I think, sebagai contoh, I think we had early GLCs which were involved in internet. And when they managed to pelopor internet and semiconductor, and when the industry picked up and the industry could go on, move on. So, ini adalah antara perkara yang kita perlu fikirkan bersama dengan central agencies if you are here. We cannot just expect them to go out and make money and then they start doing things which are not really their core business. So perkara sebegini rupa juga kita perlu beri perhatian. Jadi saya berterima kasih kepada Puan Hazami kerana mengupas dari segi tersebut. Saya rasa persoalan tadi, adakah kami di landasan yang betul? Saya rasa kami berada di landasan, tapi berada di atas landasan pun kereta api itu kena bergerak. So perlu ada action, perlu ada bahan api. Untuk itu saya rasa kita perlu ada kerangka polisi yang jelas. Tapi seringkali kerangka polisi kita itu tidak mempunyai indikator-indikator untuk mengukur milestone kita. Jadi saya berharap kepada pewaris dasar ini, sediakanlah indikator-indikator dengan milestone yang jelas supaya kita boleh monitor, review and verify. Kalau tidak, kita ada dasar yang very broad dan we think that the data will be moving on its own. So ini sangat penting. You have to have monitoring, review and verification of the data. Saya rasa kita ada kerangka regulasi yang agak kukuh dan juga institutional yang agak kukuh. Tapi saya amat menyuruh pada agensi-agensi pusat mungkin perlu berbicara dengan Akademi Sains tentang isu ROV ini. Sebab kalau kita mengharapkan institusi-institusi tajaan kerajaan untuk menjana kekayaan, saya rasa itu satu perkara yang sangat sukar dan akan menyebabkan kita terderail daripada landasan. Ya, jadi itu penting. Seterusnya saya rasa yang perlu diperkasakan lagi ialah ekosistem dana, dan untuk itu kerajaan telah menyediakan Malaysian Science Endowment, dan jika ada yang tercuit hati untuk menderma, dipersilakan. Kita perlukan the industry to come forward because I think the industry is spending very little on funding, and akan keluar satu kajian oleh MOSTI dalam bulan ini tentang how much industry is doing innovation, and itu akan menyebabkan kita terkejut. Alright, so I won't reveal the figures now, but nantikan kajian yang akan diterbitkan tidak lama lagi. Dan saya rasa satu perkara yang sangat penting, kita ada the 10-10 indicator which is very good. We got the 30 niche areas, tapi perkara yang sangat penting, we cannot be doing everything. Itu saya rasa salah satu yang telah dapat kita lihat daripada panel ini, kita kena ada prioritization mengikut state dan locality. Dan selari dengan itu, saya rasa Malaysia ni sama ada landasan betul tu saya rasa bukan persoalan lagi sebab we are blessed with amazing biodiversity seperti mana digariskan oleh semua keempat-empat panel. Jadi we also need to look at underutilized crops, and which is I think tidak ada tumpuan lah buat masa ini ya, walaupun satu ketika dulu ada tumpuan, tapi we need to give a radar to underutilized crops which could be future crops. Dan seperkara lagi yang dibincangkan ialah tentang talent. Tadi ada perkataan lambakan, tetapi Prof kata tak ada lambakan. So di sini saya rasa matching, reskilling, upskilling. Nowadays, education is just not you get a degree and you move on and you will be relevant forever. No, right? Because things are moving. Untuk itu, sekali lagi promosi bagi MOSTI, kita ada program Deep Tech Future Skill di mana kita menawarkan kepada 5,000 golongan belia dengan suntikan dana sebanyak 6,000 seorang untuk reskill them and upskill them. And for example, GK Aqua is reskilling some of the biotech people on aquaculture. We are working with Huawei to reskill some of our IT graduates to meet the needs of the industry. So these are things that we need to do. And I think perkara yang sangat penting is we need continuity of this policy. Kita tidak boleh macam chip semua ya, sekejap ada, sekejap tak ada. So untuk itu secara terbuka we need leadership at all levels and political will. And I think this science communication yang disulami dengan science policy interface sangat penting. Sebab policy done without science can be quite tricky. Dan saya akhiri dengan one of my favorite scientists, Peter Pyatt. Peter Pyatt is the scientist who found Ebola, but he crumbled and he passed on because of COVID. He said this, science without politics is useless. Politics without science can be dangerous. With that, thank you all. You guys have been really great. And kepada yang berada di atas talian, terima kasih. Dan terima kasih kepada penganjur. Dan saya terima kasih kepada panel yang telah bersabar untuk bersama kita dan juga penonton.